So it's been about 1 week since I've taken the MSF skills course. Did I pass? Did I fail? And more importantly, should you be nervous about you taking the test? Stay tuned, let's find out. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I make motorcycle content. So if you're interested in motorcycles, installs, motovlogs, just general motorcycle lifestyle stuff, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, today I'm here to talk about my MSF skills course evaluation experience. And I gotta say, I think I've disappointed all of you. I just didn't live up to the promise. I failed you. I did not get a perfect score on the evaluation. I didn't. What can I say? I failed you all. I was 1 point away, just one, from a perfect score. I missed it by this much, just this much. I can't believe it. I was so close. Out of all the evaluation tests, the 5 tests that you take, the one that I slightly messed up on, and I wouldn't even call it a mess up, it was the braking test. I came to a stop at 15 feet, and 14 feet was the perfect stopping distance, or anything before that. So I was 1 foot off, and I could have had a perfect score. So, sorry to say, I did pass, but not a perfect score. So here are my thoughts if you should be nervous about the MSF skills course. Because I read a lot online saying, people get really nervous about the skills course, and one thing in particular, the dreaded figure 8 in the box. So, I'm out here in the parking lot right now today at this parking garage. There's no one around. Just to start talking about the basics that you're going to encounter at the MSF skills course. And then we're going to get on the road and talk because it's getting hot. So anyways, MSF skills. It's a 2-day course that you take, and they're split up for day 1 and day 2. Now day 1 is way more basic. Now you come into the course, they assume you know nothing about motorcycles. So in day 1, you're literally standing next to a motorcycle, and you're going to learn all the basics about the controls. You're going to learn about the clutch. You're going to learn about the shifter. You're going to learn about the brake. You're going to learn how to turn the ignition, the kill switch, and the start button. You're going to learn how to mount a bike, just as so. And then you're going to start learning the basics of the friction zone. So for the first couple hours, you're probably going to be pretty bored if you have any sort of riding experience. Everything from mounting the bike, how to turn it on, get things into gear, rocking back and forth. You start riding a little bit into it on day 1, and you're doing some real basic drills on how to operate the bike. So you're going to learn how to get into gear, go forward slowly, stop. You'll get into some basic turns, etc. And so forth and so on. So day 1 it's long. It's going to be kind of tedious. But if you've got some skills behind you, if you've been on a bike before, you'll do fine. If you're new to motorcycles, this is a great introduction on how to start riding. It goes at a fairly decent pace, but you're going to be thrown into the fire, and you're going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. I would say out of, I think we had 7 or 8 people in the class, and there was a good mix of new riders and some experienced riders. There was some guys who had been riding for a really long time and just wanted to get legal, and there was several people who had never been on a bike, and they were just learning for the first time. And so I got to see definitely a mixture of the two. It was really cool to meet some new people and hear about their experience and hear about how they got interested in the motorcycles, and some kind of mirrored my story, getting interested on YouTube and wanting to learn to ride, and some were just they felt the need to get legal and get their endorsement on their license. Shout out to my guys who were in the class. I'm hoping you guys get a bike soon so we can go ride. So after day 1, which is mostly basics, you get into day 2, which day 2 is a lot more fun. Day 2, you're going to learn more maneuvering on the bike, turning, swerving, sharp right turns, etc. So, it's definitely more of an experience. So day 2 is definitely more fun. So let's get moving on the bike a little bit because it's getting hot here. And let's talk about day 2, because day 2 leads into the evaluation, and the evaluation is where it's at. All right, let's get moving here. All right, so day 2 is definitely more practice that you're going to have on the course, doing things like what I'm doing here, which is just like, turning, more emergency swerves, braking, a lot more real world application of what you're going to do on a bike. So the general thing they're trying to reinforce in the course is the use of the friction zone and how important that is to controlling the bike. It's definitely about using the friction zone in controlling your speed and keeping the momentum up so you don't stall the bike and drop the bike over. So day 2 is great. It's fun. You get to go, you get to do a lot more riding. It's a lot more fun. Instructors are great. So if you're nervous about doing the skills course, I would say it's all about confidence. And what I noticed with a lot of the riders that were there, where if you have confidence in your abilities, you're going to do fine. If you get nervous and you doubt yourself and you feel like you're just going to constantly drop the bike, you're going to fail. Out of the 8 people that we had in the course, everyone passed except one. And the reason why I feel that person did not pass, and just by watching and observing, is there was just no confidence in the way that person wanted to commit to any of the exercises. So, on the turns, it's being afraid to lean the bike, keeping the speed up. That person just basically kept the speed so low that the bike just wanted to fall over. What they'll teach you is you need momentum. The bike needs to be moving at least about 10 miles an hour for most of these exercises. If I'm going to say anything, I'm going to say have some confidence in your abilities. Trust yourself, trust the teacher. They're not lying to you. You can do this. I got to say, I saw one of the best improvements I've seen in the course by my bud Brian. Hey, shout out to you, Brian. He did amazing. Never been on a bike before. First time riding. Day 1, he was a little nervous, got a little squirrely in the sections. And then by day 2, he was just like rocking it. He was just doing great. You know why? Because he had confidence. He knew he could do it, and he did it well. And by the end, when he took his evaluation, he passed no problem. He hit the U-turn box and just smoked it. Just did awesome. I think he had like one of the best U-turns out of the group. Maybe second to mine. I don't know. Anyways, so I think if you just have confidence in yourself, and you listen to the instructors and trust what they have to say, you'll do fine. All right, so let's get on the road here and we'll talk about the evaluation. Now, it all comes down to at the end of day 2, where you have a 5-test evaluation on what you've learned in the 2 days that you've been there. So out of the 5 tests, I would say there's probably 2 that are higher skills than the other. The other 3 I think are, require skill, but, definitely not as high as the 2. So evaluation number 1, we're going to start with your tire on a T, and it's the cone weave. And the cone weave is a slow speed maneuver. You got to weave in and out of the cones. But you got to weave through the cones without stalling the bike, dropping the bike, hitting the cones, or missing any of the cones. And again, this goes back to the whole confidence thing. If you paid attention in class and you practiced the cone weave several times through both days, you're going to do fine. It's exactly like what you practice in class. So that one's pretty straightforward. I don't think you'll have too much of an issue with it. Now, evaluation number 2. Number 2, I would say, is the one that most people have the most difficulty on. Number 2, you're going to start off on a T-mark as well, and you have to make a 90-degree right turn from a stop without hitting any of the cones, and then you have to enter the U-turn box. And the U-turn box is a 20-foot wide U-turn box with a stop mark inside as well. So you're going to enter the box on the left side, cross over to the right, make a U-turn without crossing the lines or dropping the bike or stalling, and then come to a stop with your front tire in the box. And you can do this as slow or as fast as you can if if you're more comfortable with doing the U-turn at a higher rate of speed, then great. If not, you can crawl through it as long as, like I said, you don't put a foot down, stall the bike, or drop it. I would say it's probably the hardest one, and definitely the one that I think threw most people for a loop. There's a lot of foot drops. You're just gonna get points off. No one dropped the bike, which is good, but a lot of foot drops and a lot of outside the lines, which you're getting to get points off for. So once you're done with evaluation 2, I would say you can take a deep breath, because after that, it's not too bad. So evaluation number 3 is the stopping test. So again, you're going to start on the white T mark, and you have to get your bike up between 10 and 15 miles an hour. And they time you on this. They make sure that you're actually going that fast, and if you don't, they're going to make you do it over. I think you get like 2 shots at it. So you need to get on that throttle and get up to over 10 miles an hour. And once your front tire crosses the white line that they designate, you have to bring the bike to a complete stop, and you have to do it within a certain amount of feet. Now that's where I lost my point. 14 feet is the 14 feet or better is the acceptable zone of no points, and then everything after you get a point off. So I was 1 foot over, and I got a point off at 15. So if I had just squeezed that brake just a hair harder, I could have had that perfect score. You get comfortable with the bike and have the confidence, you'll be fine. So that gets you into evaluation number 4. And 4 is another one that, again, it's the same thing you've done in class. It's the swerving to a brake evaluation. So you're going to line up on a T-mark straight line. You're going to get up to speed. And then at the cone, you're going to swerve around another cone, and then kind of bring the bike to a stop in a straight line. And that leads to the last evaluation, which is number 5, which is the cornering around a little circuit. And this one is actually really fun. I actually think this is the most fun evaluation. It's basically, again, you're coming from a stop on the T-mark, and you're going to get up to speed, and you're actually going to get into second gear, and then you're going to come around the first corner, and then on the back straight section, they want you to get up to 20 miles an hour. And then again, they're timing you on this. They're going to make sure you're up to speed. They want you up to speed through this straight section. And once you're up to speed, there's a second corner coming up, and they're testing you on your ability to slow the bike down with your brakes before entering the corner and making your way around the corner within the lines. And then once you come around that corner, you can come to a stop, and that's it. Again, this is something you practice during the second day of class. So if you're paying attention, you're going to do fine. Yep, so like that, you're done. You've completed the MSF skills course. You've taken the evaluation. And I think some biggest words I could give you is they are not looking for perfection. They are not expecting you to go from someone who has never ridden a bike before to being the best skilled maneuvering motorcycle rider in 2 days. they expect you to have a solid basic knowledge of how to operate the vehicle. They want you to pass. They don't want to fail you. They are there to help you. They are there to help you make sure you understand how to operate this motorcycle, to be safe on the road. They don't want you to fail. It literally comes down to just believing in yourself, knowing that you can do this, and trusting the bike and trusting the process. And like I said, there were 2 guys in the class who had never been on a bike before, and by the end they did just fine. They passed. Now, doesn't mean that they're going to go out and, you know, rip around the town on a motorcycle the next day. I got to practice more too. You know, I'm out here a lot, just, you know, getting comfortable. And that's the thing, you got to get comfortable with the bike. But yeah, you know, if you're going to take that MSF course soon, just know that it's not as scary as it sounds. You know, it is a test, but, you know, pay attention. You'll get used to it. You know, I just wanted to share my experience, and I thought it was a great experience, and I'm glad I did it. You know, I am finally legal. I went to the DMV, and I do have my endorsement now, so I am riding legal. A huge shout out to my guys at the course, Enrique and Brian. You know, get your bike soon. We'll go riding. And the instructors, they're awesome. Jim and Mark from Burt's Barracuda, you know, they're some really good instructors. They kind of had this like good cop, bad cop thing going on, which was interesting. It's like, you know, Jim was like your cheerleader and Mark was like your, you know, like stern teacher, you know, watching you really closely, which was cool. It's a good dynamic, you know. Well, all right, YouTube. Appreciate it. Hey, we hit that subscriber count for September. We hit 100 with like several days to go. So appreciate everyone for subscribing. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button below. Hit that like button. Every little bit helps. And thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. And if you keep watching, I'll keep making them. And remember, you know, just keep riding, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, peace, YouTube.